Chief Justice, those salutations that you made at the beginning, I adopt and I accept. And to those to whom I have inadvertently, not formally mentioned, I greet you too, and with that, let me be permitted to say what usually gets said. All protocols have been observed. Chief Justice, it's almost a dozen years since August 2013 when I stood on this very same podium paying homage and tribute to the late Chief Justice Pius Langa at an occasion not unlike this one. In his career, he had had time as an academic, just as was the case then. In this case, I find myself today coming to pay homage and tribute to a woman who once was an academic and a seasoned jurist, whose juridical talents, as we have heard throughout this period of mourning her demise, were enjoyed not only here, but in neighboring countries in the SADC region. So talented was she. I come here at the request of the national chair of PABASA, the Pan-Africanist, or the Pan-African Bar Association of South Africa, whose constitution will tell you that PABASA was founded for Africans, more particularly, and for women, more relevantly for today's ceremony. PABASA has committed itself through its memoirs or through its members to independence, the promotion of democracy, gender equality, anti-racism, anti-sexism, the protection and enhancement of the rule of law, to the ideal of an open society founded on human dignity, the achievement of equality, and the advancement of human rights and freedoms. I make bold, Chief Justice, to say that Justice Mokgoro would have been a member of PABASA. It is therefore apt that PABASA's president sent me to pay homage to this illustrious career, both as an academic and a jurist. Everything that could possibly be said has already been said. And I only have 5 minutes. I don't know whether I've gone beyond 5 minutes already. But from the everything was said from the very moving tribute by you, Chief Justice, at the funeral, and to various commentators and jurists of note themselves. I recall comments made on the occasion of Justice Mokgoro's funeral, even on the sidelines thereof, where tributes were paid to the late Justice Mokgoro by luminaries like Justice Moseneke, who was Deputy Chief Justice in this court. I can do no more than those luminaries in paying homage to the late Justice Mokgoro. Almost to a man and a woman, every commentator has more or less, either directly or indirectly, touched upon Justice Mokgoro's seminal judgments, but especially her articulation in State versus Makwanyane of Ubuntu as a value. She called it an emerging value at the time in South African law. Its power as a transformative tool to engender a new, distinctively African law to South Africa's maturing, relatively young democracy. We all know that this word does not appear in the so-called Final Constitution 108 of 1996. However, we know that in the interim constitution, and there is a story about, which I will not go into that, there is a post-ember which reads as follows: the adoption of this constitution lays the secure foundation for the people of South Africa to transcend the divisions and strife of the past, which generated gross violations of human rights, the transgressions of humanitarian principles in violent conflicts, and a legacy of hatred, fear, guilt, and revenge. These can now be addressed on the basis that there is a need for understanding, but not vengeance, a need for reparation, but not for retaliation, a need for Ubuntu. As the Chief Justice pleases. Those who, like Judge Mokgoro, appreciated that there is a need and a basis for the judicial application of the concept of Ubuntu, namely its link to restorative justice, will agree that Justice Mokgoro was an embodiment of those views. As I conclude my tribute, I cannot but think that her outlook at this court particularly was also informed by the fact that she was joining a profession which in the dawn of the post-apartheid democracy only had 2 women who were judges. In fact, in 1994, there were judges van den Heever in the then Appellate Division and Traverso DJP in the Cape High Court. May her soul rest in peace, in eternal peace. Thank you, Chief Justice.